Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of the We Believe Do You Paranormal Podcast. I'm Eric.
I'm Michelle. I have a question.
Yes.
Did you just say the We Believe Do You Paranormal Podcast?
I always say that, dude.
Do you?
Yeah. Every single time I've ever introduced this, I always say the We Believe Do You Paranormal Podcast.
Why?
Because it's...
Welcome back to We Believe Do You, a paranormal podcast.
Because it's describing the podcast. The We Believe Do You Paranormal Podcast.
Okay. Anyway, how's it going?
I literally never know. Like I literally go back and listen to every episode that I've ever introduced, and I always say that.
Now I'm like, do I say that?
No, because you say We Believe Do You a Paranormal Podcast.
Oh.
Or you say a paranormal podcast, but that's what you say.
You should probably get that like squared away and
why
on the same page.
It makes it different, I guess. It's the same thing. I mean, the important part is We Believe Do You.
Yeah, it's true. Anyway, how's it going?
I can't believe you just like that just registered for you. Yeah, like what are we? September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April. 7 months in, and you're just catching this right now.
28 episodes in. Yeah. Oh, 29. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Jesus.
Anyway, it's fine. What you drinking today, bro?
Apple cider.
Oh, in a green bottle.
Yeah, dude.
Called Heineken. Interesting.
Excuse me?
Oh, is it?
I don't drink that skunk shit.
Well, yeah. I don't know. Okay.
I honestly don't really like. Every time I've ever had a Heine, it's tasted like ass. No pun intended.
Pun intended.
It's literally intended. Like it's literally like every time I've had it, it's skunked. It like literally, I pop it open and I feel like you get the, and it just smells like a skunk. Yeah.
I've never drank Heineken, so I wouldn't know.
I don't recommend it. I know it's a lot of people's favorites though. So.
It's a pretty cool shirt you're wearing there.
I know. It's all sweaty because I was out in the yard planting some hibiscus plants for my wife.
Oh.
For Valeria.
Oh, did they all die in the freeze?
Unfortunately, yes, dude. Our papaya that we had for over a year.
No. That's weird. You didn't compliment my hat though.
Yeah, your hat's pretty dope. I love the font. Yeah. I'm kind of sad though because I'm looking at it like I really want to wear it, and I just have a feeling because I have such a fat head that it's not gonna fit. But if you guys want to, you can go to WeBelieveDoYou.com and purchase one.
That's why I brought up the merch. He's wearing our logo t-shirt and I'm wearing our hat. If you guys want to take a look, WeBelieveDoYou.com. Kind of scope all that out. You can learn about us. You can buy merch. You can listen to our episodes. What else can you do? You can donate to the podcast.
And you can submit your stories.
And you can also contact us, submit your stories through there. Or you can email us. But yeah. Let us know what you guys think. I've worked really hard on that and I was like very excited to put it out. So if there's anything that you want to see more of or more that like isn't on there, let us know. And then we will be releasing merch. More merch later, like some mugs or some sweatshirts and things like that. But, yeah.
I'm sure eventually Michelle's going to want to release a Ouija board with our faces on it, but I'm going to try and fight really hard not to do that.
Oh, I already came up with like a planchette design for a t-shirt.
I mean, I'm not going to lie, it's pretty dope.
It is pretty dope.
The design's pretty cool. I like it. I would wear it even though I'm anti-Ouija board.
But I would wear that design. Doesn't mean you're pro Ouija board.
No, but it's like if you wear a t-shirt with a gun on it, I mean, are you pro gun?
Maybe. Maybe not.
Alrighty
anyway, then. Okay. Cool. All right, guys. So
Speaking of Ouija boards and attachments.
So you may have noticed that this week we don't have a guest on. But because it's been a while since we've shared or did an episode on just some personal experiences. I know we kind of talked about our dreams, some of the personal dreams, but that was just kind of like giving you guys examples of some of the dreams that we talked about in that deep dive. But this one's a little different in the sense that it's some personal experience, personal paranormal experiences that we had. We had.
Yeah, I'd say mostly you, and then I shared one with you there towards the end.
Oh, and by the way, you didn't ask me what I was drinking.
What did you drink from it?
It's all about you, bro.
Always. But did you drink from it? Because what are you drinking
right
in that beautiful blue cup?
Carlos would be proud. It's a Dallas Mavericks cup, his coffee mug, because all my wine glasses are packed for our move next Saturday. But I'm just having a little bit of white wine. I don't know what kind. It's a bottle. It's just white.
Listen, I really like my future brother-in-law, but I'm not a fan of his sports choices.
Okay, but at least the Dallas Mavericks win. Dallas Cowboys, not so much. So that one you can be ashamed of.
I guess. Moving on.
This is an experience or experiences that like I was a little iffy to talk about just because I didn't. They're kind of also very personal to an extent, and yeah, I don't know. I didn't really want to necessarily share them, but I think I will. So I guess like the topic of these experiences is kind of about attachments and like spirit attachments, or yeah. And the first one that I know of, I guess, that happened was I'll say this from my understanding of attachments, and this was, and I didn't really know about attachments until this first one happened. Attachments tend to happen when lower vibration, like energetically speaking, if you're like anxious or depressed or like just going through some stuff, the lower your vibration, the easier it is for lower vibration entities to attach themselves to you. And so that's kind of why I didn't really want to talk about it, because it was during a really dark period, I guess, of my life. But I don't know I literally don't know how to start it. So I was in this relationship and it got really, really bad, really toxic. I'm like a pretty chill, like passive person. I'm not violent. I don't yell. I don't lose my cool. Maybe when I was younger and I would like fight with you, Eric, right? But for the most part,
yeah.
But you're my brother. That's different. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, it takes a lot for me to get like upset and angry.
I will say. Sorry, I will say that when I was younger, I was very aggressive as well. Lost my temper very quickly as well. So I mean, I think as we've grown, we've both kind of mellowed out and learned to control that.
Yeah, and yeah, so I mean, we're not kids. If you hit someone now, like that's assault. So
Yeah.
So you have to mellow out, right? But yeah, okay. So all that to say, and I mean, it's for a reason that I'm saying these things, because, like I said, that relationship I was in got really, really bad. I remember this one time that we were arguing, and like I got so mad, like I flipped the coffee table. Like there's like cups and whatever. I just like flipped. I was so pissed. I just screamed at the top of my lungs, flipped the coffee table, and then just like stormed off. And there's another time. Yeah, there is another time. And Eric, I don't know if you actually know the details of some of this
I
stuff.
don't think I do. And because of like just how touchy everything was, I always also like never really wanted to prod and poke and stuff, and just whatever you wanted to share, if you ever wanted to share, like I'm always here for you whenever you need that, but you never really mentioned the whole, like went into detail about things, so I never really asked.
Yeah, there's a lot of things. I actually was just talking to Mom about this relationship recently and some of the things that happened. She's like, why didn't you ever, like, you never told me this, or why didn't you just come over to like her house or whatever? And I was like, I don't know why I did half the things that I did, or like stayed and stuff, right? But Um, I guess I was like just justifying it in my head that it was
Mm-hmm.
okay. But yeah, and like there's this other time where again we were arguing, and like I was like this close to hitting it. Like I don't hit people again as an adult. Like you just don't hit people. Um, but I like made a fist and I was like 2 seconds away from hitting him. And I always made the joke that like it was the hand of God that was like, don't do it. And
Mm-hmm.
like pulled my hand back down because like but I don't know. I've never felt that type of like anger and like just
Mm-hmm.
I didn't feel like myself. That wasn't me. And then I was just like having these like thoughts and like it was I was in a really dark place, like I said. And so I remember reaching out to a friend of mine. I've talked about this friend before. She kind of like helped me out, or guided me into like into or put me on this like path, I guess, of spirituality. I don't really know
Yeah.
what to call it. Introducing me to some of these things, and so I like reached out to her, and like I remember being at work, and I was just like sobbing because I was like, I don't feel like myself. Like I feel like there's something wrong with me. I'm not like I am not me. Like
Because you
go
were
ahead.
even losing your patience with your students, right?
With every yeah, okay, so like I like kids are like I have all the patience in the world. Sometimes for the most part can't stand adults. My patience for adults is like very thin. But little kids, they have all the patience in the world because like they're learning, they're growing, and if they throw a tantrum, they just need to be taught versus like an adult throwing a tantrum, you're just an asshole, you
Mm-hmm.
know? And so
Yeah.
yeah, I was like losing my patience with the kids, and like I just couldn't. Yeah, I was just like I wasn't me. Like I was just getting so angry. I was not myself. And I remember calling her and being like, I don't know, like I feel like something on me. Like I remember telling her like I just want to go to like a curandera and like get like a freaking cleansing or something because I don't feel right. And I was still really like new to all of this, so I again didn't know anything about attachments, didn't know anything about energies and things like that. So in my mind I just thought there was something wrong with me. And she's like, you know what, like why don't you come over later and we'll like work it out kind of thing. And I was like, okay. And she was also like my therapist. Like I would talk to her and she'd, help me out with stuff. Um or this situation really. It was just this. And so I went over and she had me like sit down, and she like brought some crystals out and told me to like kind of guided me through not necessarily meditation but just like relaxing. And so she's sitting like across from me, our eyes are closed, and the best that I can describe it, i I can't, I really can't. It felt like this, like these waves of just like a pulsating like woo woo woo, but like the whole room was just doing that. And then I started feeling like I was like
Mm-hmm.
spinning, like if you were to spin a whole bunch, right, like turn around, twist, and then close your eyes and
Like
stand
if you're
still.
drunk.
If you're drunk or just dizzy, like if you're dizzy, like if you
Okay.
like, yeah, just spin around like a whole bunch and then you stop and then like it feels like the room is like still spinning kind of thing. That's almost kind of what it felt like too.
Mm-hmm.
And again, we're sitting like crisscross applesauce across from each other. Like I'm not doing anything, just breathing. And I don't know what I'm sure she's doing some stuff that, I didn't really know or understand. Um, but yeah, so that was happening. And so then she like proceeded to tell me that I had an attachment, and she was like, "Did you pass by any like car accidents recently?" And I was like, I don't know. I mean, Austin, like, there's always car accidents because people drive like maniacs, so I wouldn't be surprised. Um, but not that I was aware of. And so she, yeah, just ended up telling me that it was this younger guy, like, I think like in his early 20s, and he had passed on from a car accident that he was in, and saw my light, my energy, whatever, and attached to me. And he was angry and scared and frustrated because he didn't know he was dead, but he didn't know what was going on. So me already kind of being like upset and angry, now adding like some other person or spirit's anger and frustration and sadness and all that just like amplified my own. So what normally would only get me, or something would get me like kind of upset, like I was going to an extreme, like just insane mood swing, not mood swings, but yeah, I was just going to extremes, which it usually takes a lot more to get me there.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't, it was easy. And so that was essentially why. And so she removed him, and he actually tried to like attach himself to her, and she's like, no, not me either. Like, you have to go. Like, you're dead. Here's the light, kind of thing. And he finally left, and he crossed over. And no, I mean, yeah, that was pretty much it, in the sense that like she sent him on his way basically, and like helped him cross over, so that he wouldn't be like attached to me anymore. And I will say, like, after that, like walking to my car, like I felt so much lighter. Yeah. And I felt good. Like, that was the first time that I could say like I felt good. And that's because like all like my shitty situation was still happening, but I never had another outburst like after that. And I can't remember who I was telling, and they're like, well, how do you know that's not all bullshit? And I don't know what. I was like, you know what? Let's say that was all bullshit and it is just like mental.
But
it helped me. Yeah, it helped me. And that in itself is magic, because I was not doing well. And yeah, that helps. And I wasn't losing my patience. I never tried to or wanted to hit anybody or flip tables or any of that. And yeah, so that was attachment number 1.
And how did how did she I mean, I know the answers, but I'm going to ask you anyway for the audience. How was it that she, I mean, if you want to share the process or what it is that she did exactly to help clear him?
I mean, I like calling on Archangel Michael and Azrael.
Mm-hmm.
Azrael.
Azrael.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, like, she's got like her whole. Everyone's got like their team of angels and guides and things like that. So I'm sure her working with like her team of spirit guides and angels and whatnot. And I know it's like a very specific process, but I haven't learned that yet. I haven't really learned how to properly cross spirits over. I know that, yeah, sometimes you can be like, okay, walk into the light, and it could be that easy, but especially if they're a little bit more stubborn, it's like a whole process. And I don't personally know exactly what the whole process is, because I haven't gone through any sort of like class to learn, I guess.
Yeah.
But I mean, that is something that I'm interested in. But like I said, it was like, it's not like she was chanting and like doing some sort of like ritual. Like, it was all very quiet, very just relaxed and
meditative type.
Yeah. And like she was like talking, and like I could hear her, but it was like, okay, Archangel Michael, like, and Archangel, what's up?
That was what if I remember correctly from when you first told me the story, she had called on Michael first, right? And she tried crossing him over with Michael, but he still wouldn't go. So that's when she called in the big guns.
Yeah.
Azrael, who is the angel of death, to help cross him over, correct?
Yeah. Yeah. And he just, the angel of death, but just like,
he helps cross spirits over.
Exactly.
He's like, it's not the angel of death and like he comes and kills people. He helps people who have passed cross over.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, that was the main, or those are the 2 main people, I guess, that she was working with. But yeah, like I said, he was apparently super stubborn and like didn't want to go, and was just kind of like in denial that he was dead, I guess, also. But
and I think also because of the story that you told me, that's why obviously Michael is, because of protection and stuff, he's like one of my go-tos. And again, I think I mean I've mentioned this before, and Raphael also was because of the healing and stuff like that. And and Azrael just because of the Angel of Death moniker that I had gotten at one point, but also because I feel like in the medical field that he would be an angel that could help and be yeah, just helpful. I was gonna say useful, but that sounds like disrespectful. Helpful, you know.
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, like those are those are their jobs, I guess, right? Like that's what they do. But yes, that was really interesting, and like I never had that again. That anger, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Or lost my temper, or just having like that extreme of an emotion. Yeah, it just wasn't happening anymore. It never happened again, and hasn't happened again. So that's why this other attachment was a little bit weird for me.
I was gonna say, so how were you able to figure out the second attachment then if it wasn't like the same situation? Because I figured like if you started like recognizing certain things like, oh, I'm losing my temper more or this and that, like my emotions are changing, like you would have picked up on the fact that you had an attachment.
I feel like, well, and then I don't even know how long I had this other guy attached to me, but I feel like attachment number 2, I would be lying if I said my like moods weren't affected, but I wasn't angry. I was sad. Like I would get super sad.
So there was still that emotional like
Yeah, and then
change.
yeah, well, and because like the difference too is like there's these thoughts that like enter that you just know, like I would never think that, and like it's in my head, you know what I mean? And but I know that those thoughts weren't mine. I'm like, I would never do this. This isn't mine. I don't know what is happening. But I feel like it came later, because what I was originally feeling was, well, that present, like something is in the room, right? And I think I've mentioned this presence before, but I didn't mention it as like an attachment or go into detail as far as like what I was experiencing with this next guy. So I can almost like remember exactly like the first night that I experienced him or felt him, I guess. Um, I was with Carlos, was staying the night, and it was at his apartment, and I just felt like someone was in the room, like someone standing off in the corner, and but I just kind of like brushed it off, and then I couldn't see anything, but I could feel it getting closer and closer, like as if it started at the foot of the bed and then was coming, like around the corner and then just getting up and close, like to my face. And I couldn't sleep. Like I would, for fucking months and months and months, like I would have so much trouble sleeping because it just, again, well, I would have that feeling like someone was in the room, and the moment that I would like be about to just like drift off into sleep, it was like as if someone was like yelling in my face, like to wake up, and I would be like startled awake. And it was like in my fucking face. And or like if like you're trying to sleep and right as you're about to like pass out, like if someone's like, hey, wake up, hey, are you awake, like it was that kind of like, it was so fucking annoying. And it wasn't scary, I wasn't like freaked out by it, I was pissed and annoyed because I was like, I just want to sleep, like you're not letting me sleep, kind of thing. I remember reaching out to my friend, the same friend that helped me out with like the first attachment that I was telling you about, and I, told her like like there's something, I don't know what it is, but I feel like there's like an entity here, and I don't know what he wants or what it wants, but it's keeping me up and I can't sleep, and I'm struggling. And don't get me wrong, like I will wake up randomly, like I have bouts of like having trouble sleeping, but this was different. This was like something like waking me up or keeping me awake, and not letting me fall asleep. Not just like insomnia. Like that's different. Like, yeah, I have that too.
Yeah.
But it was just a different feeling.
I have that too, but I actually have a name for it. It's her name's Valeria.
She keeps you up at night? Or I guess during the day because you sleep.
Well, no, like on the times that I have off, I tend to snore very loud, especially since I've put on some weight. Like probably like dad, so I get like that. Stop snoring. I would too. So yeah,
I just like shift around in the bed and like wake Carlos up. I'm like, oh, sorry, did I wake you? Shut the fuck up.
I feel more bad for her than I do for me though, because
Yeah,
she has to deal with it.
I do too. So yeah, so that was that. And so I had reached out to my friend, and she was kind of like checking in, and so it kept getting like worse and worse. The whole being woken up at night, not being able to sleep. And at this point, like I knew something was around. I knew that it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't just like me not being able to sleep. And there was this one night in particular that I saw him, or kind like it was, I guess, mostly just like a shadow. And I, again, was over at Carlos's place, and Carlos and his sister were sitting on the couch, and I was sitting like in the dining room table in one
Mm-hmm.
of the chairs, and we're watching TV, and then all of a sudden, see and feel like someone just like walks behind me. And it was like I just for like a split second just saw it out of the corner of my eye, like someone walking past me behind me. And for a second I was like, okay, yeah, someone's like walking behind me. And then I processed, no, the only two people that could be walking behind me are sitting on that couch right now. And nobody could even squeeze past like where my chair is, like up against the wall. Like there's no way. And I
Mm-hmm.
freaked the fuck. Like it was all like a half a second that I processed this, and I freaked out and like jumped out of the chair and like turned around. And of course, nothing is there. And then Carlos and Ale were just like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And like I didn't want to, like I couldn't be like, "Oh yeah," just like this shadowy figure just walked past me because I sound like a psycho, right? So I was like, yeah." But I also jumped out of the chair like a psycho because I was freaked out. So
Yeah.
either way, I looked crazy. But that was like I hadn't had an experience like that because I don't want to see things, and I think that I've made that very clear. So the fact that he showed himself to an extent was like that was kind of my like, nope, you crossed the line. You're not supposed to cross this line, and you crossed it. Um, and
Mm-hmm.
so that's when I reached out to my friend, and I was like, okay, like I actually saw him, and I don't know what he wants, and I need your help, kind of thing. So she's like, okay, like let's schedule a time, or let's do it like in 2 weeks, and like I'll help you out and whatever. And I was like, okay. But what she was also telling me too, though, was I I knew this guy in a past life. And where maybe like I was like a doctor and he was like a patient kind of situation. Not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily like literally doctor patient, but I he was sick and I helped him like I was helping him in a past life. And I guess he ended up passing away and never like crossed. So he followed
Yeah.
me kind of like into this lifetime essentially and was like, well, you helped me before, so help me again. But I'm like, dude, I don't even know who you are, kind of thing.
Yeah. I think you and me talked before you even talked to your friend, because I think you brought it up to me before, and then because you told me that you didn't know what he was like, what he wanted. And then I remember I I mean, again, I'm not a psychic, or anything like that, but I was just like, well, let me see if I can pick something up from like what he wants, or what message he's trying to give my sister. And the reason I'm saying that, I don't remember you telling me about the patient thing, is because I don't know if I ever kind of got like a feeling that he was like something in like medical, like something like that. You know what I mean? But I
No,
don't.
and that's what I'm saying. Like it's not like a literal like doctor patient. It was just something
Right,
like he
right.
was
Uh huh.
sick and I was helping him out.
You're helping him. Yeah. Well, so then, so again, you told me about this, and what you're feeling and stuff, and that you were having these situations, where you were sleeping and stuff like that, or having trouble sleeping, or that you would feel like somebody was waking you up. So then I ended up like trying to see if I could get any info and stuff like that. And again, she did mention to me when this happened, she did tell me about feeling like somebody was there, somebody was watching her, like, or like somebody would get really close to her face, um, and stuff like that. And like if I don't know how to describe it, but it's like, just imagine like a little kid, I guess, like you're laying there and just somebody getting really, really close to your face and just staring at you, like she said,
Yeah,
like,
that's what I'm
hey,
saying. It's
hey,
like in
wake
your
up. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly
Yeah.
like
So So then I was laying in bed one night, right? And I start kind of, just in my head saying, okay, I'm about to go to sleep. If there's any messages that you want to give my sister, you know, um, you can communicate with me, but wait until I'm like in
Sleep.
sleep. Cause I don't, again, those boundaries that you're talking about, I really didn't, I'm still not, I mean, I'm not even like trying to get comfortable yet with, like, again, I would like to be able to understand and hear and see and understand what I'm seeing, but I'm not there, obviously. So, I mean, I figured, well, even if I get any kind of info, just go ahead and, tell Michelle and see what, if it means anything or if it triggers anything for her. You know what I mean? So I'm laying there and I roll over onto my right side. And so that means my back is to the edge of the bed. And I also start feeling like somebody getting really close to me, like putting, like, they obviously can't put their face to my face because my back would be like, quote unquote, to them. But I could feel somebody getting close to me, like close to my back and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, I start feeling, which Michelle didn't mention right now, and she didn't mention to me when she told me about this initially, but I started feeling like somebody was like lightly tugging on my sheets, like on the, like to the foot of my bed. And so like I start feeling this and I'm like, well, maybe it's just in my head. So then I pull like my foot up to kind of like, stop the sensation. And then I left my foot again, uh, just without movement. And all of a sudden I start feeling like that tugging sensation again. And I'm like, oh, this is really weird. So I was like, okay, just stop messing with me right now. I'm trying to, go to sleep so that you can communicate with me. I told you, just not right now. You know what I mean? So just before I started to doze off, I ended up like getting an image of like a crow or a raven's head, but like in a skull, like with the color like red behind it and stuff like that. Um, and so yeah, I don't know what it meant. I ended up telling Michelle about it later. Well, I ended up calling Michelle. I don't know if it was the next day or a few days later, and I was like, "Hey, look, I tried this, and this is the only thing that like popped into my head. I don't remember dreaming anything else." And but right before all that happened, this happened, and then I start mentioning the sheet tugging on my feet and stuff, and
Oh my
yeah, she's like,
god.
did I tell you that? And I was like, tell me what? And she's like, about the sheets. And I was like, no, dude, like I'm telling you, this is what happened to me. And then I don't know if you want to jump in.
He tugged on my sheets too. I didn't say anything.
Yeah. So
And
yeah,
yeah.
so it was really weird. That, again, and that's what like kind of makes it weird, like that's what, again, for me, validates that it was an like the same person. You know what I mean? Because
Well,
she hadn't
and the whole
said this.
getting in your face thing too. Like that
Yeah,
was another like no for sure kind of thing.
yeah.
Because yeah,
But I mean, I guess anybody, like, if anybody hears that, they could be like, oh, well, it's because she told you, that's why you were feeling it, type of thing. You know what I mean? But the whole like feeling like the fact that you left that out I mean, even though
yeah,
it was unintentional, you left that out, and then I said it to you, and then you like validated that you were like, yeah, that happened to me too. And it's like, oh, cool. Like that's, that validates that it was the same person, because it was something that I didn't know about that happened to me that also happened to you. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
it was crazy. Like in the moment, like I just remember getting like crazy chills and just like, oh my God.
yeah,
And I think after that is when I think you ended up speaking to your friend.
yeah. I
So,
what, but I spoke to her like multiple times because
oh, did you?
yeah, because this is what happened was like the first time I was like, hey, like help me out, help me get rid of this guy, kind of thing. And she's like, okay, like in 2 weeks, like let's get together. Like our schedules were busy, but
Because
around that
didn't she
time,
also like tell you like, well, what do you think he's trying to tell you?
yeah, but it well, okay, yeah, that's the second conversation.
Oh, okay.
I mean, really, we had like kind of multiple conversations, um, but yeah, so we were like, okay, like let's get this squared away, we'll do it. And then I got busy, like we were moving too, so we just like kept postponing and postponing, and it was like a whole month later. And the thing is, like the first time, like she got in contact with him basically, and that's how she learned some of those details. And she said, like, okay, like he's gonna lay off now that he's been acknowledged and he knows that we're gonna help him out, like he'll lay off, like he's not gonna bug you, kind of thing. I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
And sure enough, like slept like a fucking rock. Like I was not bothered for like a solid, I don't know, 2 weeks probably. But I put it off and I put it off, and he came back and was like, well, not came back, not that he ever left, but he just got super persistent again. And
yeah.
And I just wasn't sleeping, and yeah, so I called her again. I was like, okay, like we need to do this. This was also like the start of COVID, or like peak COVID last year, so like meeting face to face like wasn't necessarily an option. And so she actually had to do it like remotely, because we're like, well, we can't get our schedules, and just with everything going on. So I was actually at work, and I took like 20 minutes. It's like, this is my lunch break. And I went and I sat in my car, and I called her. And then, so yeah, so she was giving me more details about like who he was. She didn't give me a name. She did say that he was like of Latin descent, but like she didn't know like what, specifically what. And this plays a role into another connection that Eric and I ended up making. But yeah, and then that was pretty much it as far as like more information that she gave me, and she was able to cross him over and kind of help him out. No, so that's what I was missing was she asked me like, oh well, why don't you cross him over? I'm like, I can't. I don't know how to cross him over. This is why you had to help me with the last guy too, is because I don't know how to do this. But I didn't say all that. I was just like, I don't know how to. And then she's like, yeah, Archangel Michael was like, duh, that's why she's calling you, because she doesn't know how to do it, but you do. And so I was like, yeah, what he said. Exactly. So yeah, so she ended up helping me out and was able to cross him over, and I literally have not felt him again. Since. And the only thing, like I've had that same feeling of somebody in the room, but that's just how I feel energies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I know like it's not him. Because he was very distinct, and he was very like in my face.
In your face.
But so my friend was just saying that the reason he felt that way, or that I guess I was getting that anxious feeling, was because he was not anxious, but just trying to be like super like persistent, and like was like, pay attention to me, help me, like I need you to help me. And like, so it was that like annoying feeling that I was getting of the like an annoying little kid being like, hey, are you awake, are you like, wake up, like that. Yeah, annoying feeling I was getting was because he like essentially was being that way, and was just had that feeling of like persist, like help me, not so that kind of like validated. I was like, oh, okay, that's why he felt that, or that's why he made me feel that way, I guess, was because he was like, I can't, like, I know there's a word for it, but I literally can't think of the word, so just hear my sound effects like that. Just
so yeah, I think the only word that comes to my mind is persistent, like just
he was
or
very
insistent.
Persistent. Maybe,
I don't know, one of those,
yeah.
I'm not a fucking English major, man.
Yeah, maybe Ugo can help us.
Ugo, if you're listening, put it in the comments.
Yeah. Yeah, but so yeah, she helped me out with him. And I said, gave me a little bit more background information of like who he was, or I guess where he was kind of from. And so I went to Eric, and I was like, okay, well, let's put this to the test, since we already kind of had like a shared experience before. Kind of like, let's see if we can match like what he looks like and what his name is. And you were like, challenge accepted. Do you want to take it from here?
Yeah, dude. I don't remember if we did it that same day or if you like.
I think it was
Point
that
is,
same
like,
day
that same day. Yeah, I
after
remember
work.
like
Yeah.
just kind of being there, and I kind of saw him, and like the image that I got of him was heavy, like not super heavy set, but like he wasn't skinny. He was like a meatier dude.
Thick.
Yeah, he was thick, and he was like bald, and like I got kind of like a Hispanic vibe from him. So just like a Hispanic dude. And then she was like, okay, and she was like, give me a name. And I was like, I don't know, dude, like Javier or something with a J. And then she was like, and then what happened?
I confirmed that I also saw like a, I guess, shorter, thick guy, and then with like I saw like not a buzz cut, but like when someone has like super super curly hair, that their hair just like looks shorter than it actually is, but just
Mm-hmm.
tight to their head basically.
Yeah.
And yeah, I got the name Juan with a J.
Yeah. So we didn't get the exact name, but we both got that his name started with a J. And again, I got the name J, and I just threw the name Javier out there just because I was like, fuck, dude, I need to say a name. So I said a name. But initially, like the only thing that came to my head was like the
J.
letter J. Yeah.
Yeah. So we
And
could both be wrong on the name, but
so
the
we
fact
ended up
that
calling him Jay.
J. Yeah.
Anytime we talk about him, we call him Jay because we don't know what his name is.
Like just the letter J.
Yeah, just the letter J.
But yeah, so those are my attachments. And then that last one that Eric and I kind of were able to connect on the same person or connect with the same person.
Yeah. Which again, I always like. I mean, people have said it. We've had a couple people tell us that, we're connected. I guess I don't know if psychically, but past lives and stuff like that. But I don't know. It's just weird that certain situations that we've experienced, like this situation we've experienced it to like, not necessarily together, but she's so far away. Michelle is like she's so far away from me, yet we're still able to like somehow communicate with the same person or have experiences with the same person, and then still like kind of pick up on the same. Because again, this whole conversation with her friend, I think she told me about it after the fact. So when I told her about a Hispanic male, this and that, I didn't know that information before, before I told her that is what I'm trying to say. You know what I mean? So, it's just, I mean, it's cool. Like, I think it's cool that we're, again, not psychic. I'm still throwing that out there because it's like people who cook and they cook really well and they call themselves chefs really irks me.
It's like, no, dude, you cook from home.
Yeah. I mean, you're a home cook and it look like you can be a good home cook, but that does not make you a chef. Like, it's like an MA calling themselves a nurse, like a medical assistant calling themselves a nurse. Like, that's not your title. You're like, not to be disrespectful, but that's not your title. You know what I mean? You may do some of the same things a nurse does, but you're not a nurse, So it's kind of the same situation, I feel like.
And I will say, cooking in like a freaking actual kitchen, like in a restaurant, not the same as cooking at home. Just gonna throw that out there. Speaking from experience. Yeah. Kind of detoured there.
All that's to say, we're not psychic. We don't claim to be psychic. We are. I don't even want to say that, man, because I've heard podcasts sensitive. And I've heard people on TV say, "I'm a sensitive and I can feel energies." And
bro, I literally just said that, asshole.
Irks me, dude. What?
That I like feel energies.
Okay. No. Yes, but I mean, like,
I know what you mean.
I don't know, like the way that they
time.
say it, like the way that they say it,
I probably sound like that too, though.
No, well, I don't know, not to me. Maybe it's
you're being biased.
Sister.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, maybe. But like when I hear like, but again, and the thing is, it's like when I hear certain people say it, I'm like, okay, I believe you. You know what I mean? But then like other people say it, I'm like, dude, shut the fuck up, dude. Like seriously, shut up. You no, you know what I mean? And again, who am I to judge? Like, but I don't know. Maybe I'm picking up on a vibe, like that.
Because I think that there's people that say it to feel special, Like, they're different and special and important. And then there's people who say it, they're like, it's a, like, I didn't ever want to talk about it. Like, I would only talk about it to, like, you, mom, and dad, and that was about, and grandma, and, like, that's about it. Like, I wouldn't want to bring it up to anybody else because I'm pretty sure they would think I was crazy. And then for whatever fucking reason, I thought it'd be a good idea to start a podcast and talk about it and just talk to strangers about it, which is odd. But I would hope that I'm not coming off as that, like, condescending, like, just looking for attention kind of thing, because I love talking about the paranormal, but unfortunately some of my paranormal experiences kind of happen because of being able to feel energies.
Feelings, see things. No, and I mean, again, like, like I said, like, there was a show that we used to watch that was on TV. Haven't seen it in a while. I don't think it's on anymore. But, like, they had this one lady that it was like a love show type of thing, and this one lady would be on there, and she basically was a psychic and would say, like, yes, your energies are really good together, and this and that, and blah blah blah. And I'm like, lady, shut up, like, you don't know what you're talking about. But then they had, like, an actual psychic lady come on who was, like, helping them with, like, connecting with other family members and this and that, and, like, the energy that she came with, like, was just different. Like, you could tell that, like, I don't know, it was just different, man. Like, I could tell, like, I felt like that other lady was a fake, and this other lady that came on, like, as a guest was more real. But because she was a normal person, she came on and she said, like, stuff that was, like, matter of fact, or, like, would tell her, look, this is this, blah blah blah. She would talk like that, but she didn't, like, make it, like, because this other lady would have, like, fucking
crystal ball.
This other no, not crystal ball, but she had, like, crystals and stuff like that. And I'm just like, it just makes it look extra for
it's like gimmicky.
Like, yeah. And I think that's what it is. You know what I mean? And then, and like I said, like, I've had experiences, and yes, I feel like I've seen things. I don't call myself, and I mean, who's going to give you the title of psychic? The only people who can do that is you, right? But like, I don't feel like it's something that I can control, and maybe people will listen to this and be like, dude, shut up, man. You're not, whatever. You can't see things. It's not real, whatever. Or you're crazy and you need to be on meds. But, again, it's not something that I talk to, like, with everybody, it's only with select people. And if they show an interest in the paranormal, I'll share my experiences with them. And if they want to say you're this or you're that, or you're sensitive, or you whatever, then I'll let them say it,
like me.
Yeah, I'll let you say it because you make me feel good when you say it. But but yeah, I mean, I don't feel like I'm anything special. I just feel like it's stuff that happens to me. You know what I mean?
Well, and that's what I, like, want people to understand too, though, is that, I mean, everybody's capable of, like, doing these things. It's just, I think, like, the perfect example that I've heard is, you have those, like, child prodigies who are just amazing guitar players. Like, they pick up a guitar and they can do amazing things. And then you have other people that are, like, normal, like, it's going to take a hell of a lot more work and practice to be able to get there, but I can do it. It's just not going to come as easy to me. So there are people who are born that are able to see things easier, feel things, whatever, that are more psychic since, like, birth. And great, they're, like, those child prodigies or whatever. And then there's people, let's say, like you and I, who are, like, it's there, but, like, it's gonna, we actually have to, like, practice and really, really work at it in order to be able to get to that same level. But if we don't practice or don't work on it, then nothing's gonna happen. So I don't
know. Yeah. But yeah, guys, I mean, I think and then I don't think you've touched on the girl too, right?
Yeah, I don't think she was multiple episodes. No? Yeah, I don't feel like she was well, okay, and this is why I kind of, like, I mentioned this in Dan and Joseph's episode, when they were on together, where, like, I was, like, working with someone to kind of try and hone in on some of those skills, just because it's, like, for her in particular, like, I feel like there is something that she wanted, but I didn't, like my friend, when she was like, well, why don't you do it? And I was like, well, I don't know how. it's kind of the same situation. Like this girl was coming to me for something, but I'm like, I can't understand you. I don't know what you want. I don't know how to help you. Um, so I think that was
Yeah.
like kind of like the final straw. I was like, you know what? Like I really need to like focus on this more. Just to kind of get a better understanding.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say, like, the more that I kind of like work on it and learn about it, the more I understand it, the less scary it is. So the easier
Yeah.
it is to like accept it. I think maybe that's why I'm kind of so okay with talking about it to an extent now. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's always people that are gonna call bullshit and you just don't believe, and like that's fine. I live with one skeptic, but like I was literally telling him, actually. Sorry, quick side note. What was I telling him? Oh, okay, because one of the things that I was like have been learning and like reading about and working on is like auras, right? Like being able to see them and like feel them. And the person that I'm working with was like, yeah, like couples, like their auras, like will always like try and find each other and like are
Mm-hmm.
attracted to each other and like they connect before like the people can be like 50 feet apart, but their auras are already like touching kind of thing. And I was telling him like this past week or on Saturday, yesterday, that he went to go take the dogs for a walk and I was in the restroom like across like other side of the fucking apartment getting ready. Two
Mm-hmm.
two separate doors are closed. Bedroom door and the bathroom door are like closed. And putting on my makeup, getting ready, and then all of a sudden I felt that feeling of like someone walking into the room or someone being in the room
Mm-hmm.
with me, and I was like, the hell? And like a half a second later he like opens the door and like comes in with the dogs. And I was like, oh my God, I felt you before you came in. And he's like, are you sure you didn't hear me just like jiggle the door handle? I'm like, I didn't hear shit. I felt it. I like feeling all over my body. I felt it. I didn't hear shit. And I was like, I don't even know why I told you this. Like, I know you're not going to believe me. But yeah, I was all like proud of myself. And he was like, are you sure it wasn't? I was like, why do I even tell you? I'm just going to tell my brother on the podcast later. He'll believe me.
Now I imagine like your aura is coming like that, and like his is coming close, and yours just goes like smacks his
Yeah, like,
away.
fuck you. You know? Yeah, probably.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I thought so.
But yeah, guys, I think we're gonna wrap this up. So if you guys have anything that you guys want to share with us, if you've had attachments and you want to share those stories with us, or you want to be interviewed because you want to share your stories with us, remember that you can send in your stories in Spanish as well, and we can translate those and we can put them on the podcast. Wish I knew other languages so I could do other languages, but I can only do Spanish and not very well. So go ahead and send those in. You can reach us at on. Well, I was going to
WeBelieveDYou.com.
say that for the very end, but also don't forget
Oh,
to like, share, and follow us on Facebook, on Instagram, and on Twitter. 5 stars on Apple Podcast, and leave us a review as well, guys, and we can read that on here. Um, maybe that's what we should add to the website is like reviews on the website.
all two of them.
No, like I mean, if they want to leave a review on the website, I don't know. Anyway, moving on. So yeah,
No, leave it
okay,
on
Apple
Apple
Podcast.
Podcast, then I'll take it from
Okay,
there and put it. We
all
need them
right.
on Apple
So go to
Podcast.
Apple Podcast, give us a review, give us a 5 star. It helps us get seen on Apple Podcast. And you can get a hold of us by going to Instagram and checking out at We Believe You podcast. On Twitter, it's at WBDY podcast. On Facebook, it's We Believe You with a question mark. And our email is webelievedyou@gmail.com. And our website is webelievedyou.com. So Michelle worked
I
worked
made it.
really hard on that. She's like, I'm just a talent. She does all the hard work. Yeah, and that's not even a joke. Yeah,
It's true.
it's not a joke. Like I literally, all I do is come on here and talk and upload the podcast. She edits the podcast. She makes the website. She makes the merch. She designs new stuff for the thing. She edits the podcast.
Gets all the
She
listener
gets all the listener stories. I throw in my research for the deep dives as well.
They keep talking me up. It's making me feel better about myself.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, she's really. I just come on here and talk, and like I said, upload the podcast, which isn't really hard. Except, I guess we shouldn't talk about that. But there was a situation with YouTube, and I fixed it. Well, she
fixed it.
I put in the dispute, bro.
Okay, but only because you got the notification,
we fixed
bro.
it.
It was a team effort.
But I caught it. Well, actually, YouTube caught it.
Yeah.
And you see, man, she does everything. So anyway, I've rambled long enough.
I'm gonna cry.
Go and do all that stuff. Reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you because we believe.
Do you?